Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Husna binti Muhammad Asfarizan and my metric number is 1240656. 1240656. And today I will be discussing a case and it's called Abdul Kahar bin Ahmad against Kerajaan Negeri Selangor and another. Before we discuss deeper into this case, let me tell you what this case is about. So, Abdul Kahar was charged in the Selangor Sharia Court with 5 offences involving teaching contrary to Islamic law. Abdul Kahar claimed to be a prophet, insulted Islamic practice, failed to adhere to fatwas, and spread views contrary to Islamic law. He sought a declaration from the federal court that the provision in enactment on Sharia criminal offences were unconstitutional and contrary to the federal constitution. So, the purpose of me analyzing this case is to, firstly, to explore the roles of the Sharia court and federal court in interpreting the law. Secondly, to understand the implication of the case on Malaysia's legal system. So, we move to the next part, which is legal analysis. And the main issues in this case is, does the Sharia court have the authority to determine whether the provision of this enactment are consistent with Islam? And secondly, who has the authority to interpret the federal constitution? Is it the Sharia court or the federal court? So, let's see what is the fact of the case in this case. So, Abdul Kahar challenged 5 provisions of the Selangor Sharia Criminal Offences Enactment 1995, and he claimed that these provisions were inconsistent with the federal constitution. So then, he filed a petition in the federal court seeking a declaration that these provisions were invalid. The Selangor Islamic Religious Council, or we call it as MAIS, argued that the matter should be referred to the Sharia court. They claim that the authority to determine whether the offences were in accordance with Islam, because they thought that this matter is Islamic matter, fall under Islamic matter. What have court decide in this case? So let's see. The federal court ruled that the Sharia court did not have the authority to interpret the federal constitution. Article 1211A of the federal constitution grants the Sharia court's jurisdiction over matters of religion listed in the state's enactment, while Article 1281 of the federal constitution states that only the federal court has the authority to decide on the validity of laws concerning to the constitution. So, this decision reinforced the role of the federal court as the ultimate guardian of the Constitution, ensuring that constitutional interpretation cannot be challenged by the Sharia court. It also clarified that there will be no overlap of jurisdiction between civil court and the Sharia court. Okay, for have a better understanding on what is Article 1211A and what Article 1281 of the Federal Constitution say, I will explain to you guys what does it stated under these 2 articles and why it is crucial in this case. So firstly is Article 1211A of the Federal Constitution. So this provision states that the High Court and other courts beneath it, such as the Court of Appeal and the Federal Court, have judicial authority over all legal matters in Malaysia. This means that the civil courts have a wide jurisdiction to hear and decide on legal cases. However, it's also stated that the civil court does not have jurisdiction over matters within the jurisdiction of the Sharia court, which means civil court cannot interpret or don't have any jurisdiction to the Sharia court. So, in case falling under the jurisdiction of the Sharia court, for example, matters related to Islamic law like marriage, divorce, or inheritance, the civil court cannot intervene. So next is the Article 1281 of the Federal Constitution. So this article actually grants the federal court exclusive jurisdiction to hear and decide certain cases involving constitutional issues. It stated that the federal court exclusively has jurisdiction to determine the following matters. So the jurisdiction include that firstly legality of law and jurisdiction. So I will explain the legality of law first, which is whether the law enacted by parliament or the state legislative body is invalid due to exceeding the powers granted by the constitution. And secondly is jurisdiction, which is whether the parliament or the state legislative body has the authority to enact a particular law. Let's move to the next slide, which is discussion. So we can understand that this case highlights the crucial role of the federal court in ensuring that the interpretation of the federal constitution is solely within its jurisdiction. Article 1211A of the federal constitution grants the Sharia court authority in religious matter, but not in interpreting the constitution. The decision also emphasized that the authority of the Sharia court is limited. It is limited only to the issue listed in the state enactments. This ensures that there is no overlap between the power of the Sharia court and the civil court, and it maintaining the balance between civil and Sharia law in Malaysia. This is my personal opinion about this case. I believe that this decision is significant in ensuring clarity and stability in Malaysia's legal system. It serves as an important reference for future cases to ensure that there are no jurisdictional conflicts between the Sharia courts and the civil court. Is the decision in this case established that only federal court has the authority to interpret the constitution, while the Sharia court's jurisdiction is limited to religious matters only, and it's only the matter that listed under state enactments. So this ensures that there is no overlap authority between the two courts, and it maintains the clarity in Malaysia's legal system. The decision is crucial actually for preserving the integrity of the national legal system and ensuring the balance between civil law and Sharia law. I think that's all from me. Thank you.